guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about beginner snakes and lizards.
Just general.
And also if you're interested in getting a new bug or something like that, or a first bug, we're also going to do a little section on that, but mainly reptiles.
Yeah.
But anyway, hope you enjoy. So first off, we're going to start with beginner
Snakes.
Anyway, yeah, so if you're looking to get a beginner snake, here's some options. Okay, so first off is corn snakes. This one is currently in sheds right now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So you may be a bit grumpy. So corn snakes are very good beginners. However, they can. There's pros and cons to them.
Yeah. I'll go through a couple of the cons and you should go through a couple of the pros. But first off with cons. Corn snakes are very fast and they are not gonna just sit with you and watch TV or whatever you want to do.
Here's a very
They are active, so that can also be a pro though, because like if you want a nice snake where instead of chilling with your snake and distracting yourself with something else, the snake can be the entertainment. Yeah, the entertainment technically. They can be a bit nippy. They're not all the friendliest. They are usually quite friendly, but not all of them are.
And not all of them look like this.
Yeah, I was about to say another con. They don't all look like this pretty.
Yeah,
I'll put a picture of a normal right here. They look red in the wild, as you can see, but yeah, they're not the friendliest. There's not many cons to them. They do get quite large, so if you're looking for a smaller species of snake, do not get a corn snake. Because they are smaller, but they do get at least 4 foot. So
they're smaller in width, they're smaller like this.
Yeah,
but they do get long.
Other snakes like royal pythons, they'll get a lot thicker. We'll move to them in a minute actually, but yeah. So corn snakes, they're not many cons to them. I can't really think of many. No. Of course, they are snakes, so they are going to eat rodents. And
got to feed them. You've got to be prepared to feed them what they need, otherwise.
And just to put it out there, you can't just go looking in your garden and pick up a rat and feed it. It's actually illegal to feed live animals and wild animals to your snake. But you can go to reptile specialty stores or any old store that sells snakes.
Pets at Home.
Pets at Home is a brilliant option. They have rodents. They're going to be frozen. You're going to want to thaw them in some water or This is not a care guide, by the way. You do want to do your research quite a bit.
Do your research.
But yeah, there's not many cons to them. They do need somewhat climbing and burrowing in their closure, because
nice thick substrate. Yeah,
keeping this guy, he digs underground all the time.
Yeah,
he climbs all the time. So you want it. Not arboreal. You don't want to put them in like a tall cage. You want to put them in. He's in a 3 foot long right now. If he gets he's going to get a little bit bigger than this. Yeah. Not much though. I would recommend a 3, 4 if you want to treat 3 foot, and 4 foot if you want to treat your corn snake. Also, females will need a 4 foot, I'd say. But yeah, just make sure there's lots of stuff for them to do, because they're not one of those ones where like a royal, you just want a basic stuff, just shove a cave, water dish, that sort of stuff in. So yeah, you can go all out bioactive and that, because they're not going to destroy the plants very much. But yeah, that's pretty much all the cons, and we'll move on to pros.
Okay, so now we're moving on to the pros. There's a lot of pros to corn snakes. They're very handleable, I would say, unless you get like a feisty one. They're very pretty. Whatever morph you get, they're quite pretty, and they'll go into a quite small viv. They need space to burrow and things, like Gilbert has said, but they are quite easy care generally. Like obviously they've got a heater, they've got a heating thermostat. Like anything that you would need for any reptiles, they're gonna need, but they're not as complicated as some other species. They are generally like one of the calmer species. Obviously, they can get faster. If they're stressing or excited, they can get faster.
He's moving quite a bit.
Yeah,
but
he's moving
not
quite
too extreme.
No,
this isn't him being feisty. He's just chilling.
He's just moving about. They're trying to figure out their surroundings and what's going on. I'd say that corn snakes are very fun to watch and things because they're not nocturnal, are they? No, they're not nocturnal.
Well,
they're kind of like diurnal.
They are diurnal, but I've seen this one does hide during the day sometimes. But he is, I mean, as I went to grab him, he was just chilling out at the front of the glass. So they're not completely nocturnal, but I wouldn't say they're completely diurnal.
And like, unlike a royal or something, they move around a lot in their enclosure, so they're quite fun to watch and to see what's going on because
that also means you can give them a cool setup and they'll actually use it.
They'll actually use the setup.
Like if you give a royal like a giant place where you climb to their heart's content, crawl, hide, whatever, they're not going to use it. They're going to sit in one cave. One cave. Like pretty much their whole life, and then they're just going to come out for food and water. So, like I'm not saying don't give your royals a good setup, but I would recommend giving these guys more stuff to do because royals aren't going to use it as much. Yeah,
but with corn snakes, they like to climb. So make sure you give them the climbing space. And we've said about substrate, make it thick. They like to dig, but
that to you quickly.
They are generally quite fun to watch, and they're a very nice species of snake, and they're good for beginners because of the care setup. They don't need too much. Need to be prepared for feeding and things, but they don't need any.
Just make sure you at least have somewhat idea of what to do. See, him, I didn't have a cage set up when I bought him.
No.
But I did set it up when I got him. So I'd recommend you at least having the heating and lighting all sorted out. Keep that running for a couple of days. Make sure that's going on. It is better to have the cage already set up, though.
Yeah. But they don't need any special food generally. Like they get fed mice, rats, depending on how big they get.
About once a week. Larger ones that if you give them larger meals, you want to make bigger differences.
Gaps.
Yeah, bigger gaps between feedings.
But they don't eat like eggs or anything.
No, so
their food is generally quite easy to find.
Yeah, so corn snakes, they're pretty simple.
Simple.
Good beginner pet snake. They're not very expensive. I mean, talking
cheap.
About price wise, if you want something like this, it's going to be obviously quite a bit more. But otherwise, if you want just normal or whatever,
probably about like 20 to 30.
30,
40.
30 to 40 pounds. I'd say, not recommend. We can't recommend prices. But yeah, so they're not very expensive retail wise. So yeah, that's corn snakes. Okay, next up is royal pythons. Again, this isn't the normal coloration. That is the normal coloration. Coloration there, not coloration. But yeah, this is salad cream, by the way.
They're very sweet.
Yeah, we're going to talk about pros and cons again. So I'm going to start with pros, and then we're going to go to cons, because actually we realised cons then pros sounds weird. Pros then cons sounds better. So we're going to go that way. So for pros, royal pythons, they're not absurdly large. I do have an adult royal myself, a female as well. Females get larger than males.
They do.
She is about, I'd say she's almost 5 foot, but really not that big. She is in a 6 foot cage, but I'd say 4 foot is just fine, pretty much like this one behind us, really. That's for a boa. They are not beginner pet snakes, but yeah. So something about that size for an adult female royal. Male, something smaller. But I'd recommend the bigger the better, obviously. I need another one in 6 foot, and that is not needed at all. It looks like a baby royal in there. But yeah, as babies, they are very small. You could probably just fit it in the palm of your hand. These guys are not like corn snakes. I've just got two very active ones, but they do usually chill with you. Like they're just sitting there, doesn't do much.
I'll send a video over to you of mine who would just literally sit there in your hands.
I'll put that right here. You can watch that. And I don't actually have a video of Jazza's snake just sitting on her hand, but that's just a picture of her sitting in the corner of the tank like royals do. Yeah, doesn't do very much royals, but this one was just sitting in a cave. But yeah, they are not very expensive at all. I'd say like you paid 40 for yours.
I paid
normal,
40.
they can live quite long, up to 40 years old. There is some that are like upwards of 60. But
there's a one at our local zoo who is 53.
Yeah, so they can get quite old. Don't expect them to get that old. Also, if
No.
you want them to live long, actually take good care of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do obviously need heating, lighting. This is a care sheet. Do your research. But yeah, they're very friendly. Don't need a large cage or very large cage. You obviously, unlike corn snakes, you don't need vines and climbing stuff everywhere. It's a little bit hard to pull off a bioactive with these because they are a bit heavier and stronger. They are heavier
will
bodied.
squish things.
They are quite heavy-bodied snakes. They will squish plants, so make sure you've got strong plants. We haven't got a video on plants out, but we can do one if you want. We can do a whole bioactive one, but anyway, yeah, not too hard to take care of. You'll be able to find them pretty much anywhere. Again, eat rodents. That is about the bad thing about most snakes, but
They eat rodents.
yeah.
But you've got to deal with that. If you want a snake, you've got to be ready to...
You gotta be ready. There is some that don't eat rodents, but it's still dead animals anyway, so you might as well just deal with it.
Yeah.
Just
deal with it.
Yeah, yeah, so...
They have a lot of pros. They're awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of pros. There's not many I can think of, but...
They're generally not aggressive either. They're very sweet.
not very aggressive.
Unless
there can be aggressive ones, like, don't just...
all snakes are different. They've got personalities.
What I do when I buy a reptile and when I'm about to buy one, I would recommend asking the person who you're buying it off of to let you hold it first, so you can see how it is. If they don't let you hold it, I wouldn't buy it because then they're obviously trying to hide something, and they don't trust you or just something like that. So,
if it's someone that you've bought from before, if you're not that much of a beginner and things, don't like if they say you can't hold it or something. It's just like a red flag. Don't.
Yeah, it's a red flag. And make sure if you hold it and it bites you, don't consider that aggressive. It's scared or something. I mean, it could be just aggressive, but it's not gonna always be like that.
This one in that one. It's aggressive.
That's a carpet
That's
python.
a carpet python.
That's mean.
Mean.
Not beginners.
Not beginner.
Not intermediate, really, either.
No.
So, yeah, see how that goes. We'll do some couple videos on him. We already have one out, so we'll see how that goes.
So that was the pros. Okay. So I've got salad now. Yay! So I'm gonna be doing the cons. I got the bad job.
I'm just gonna go. I will leave you quickly. I'm just gonna go see who else can be in this video who hasn't fed.
Okay, so with these guys, obviously I'm doing cons. So they're generally a perfect snake. They're awesome. So don't take all of this into account, but do think about it. So they get larger. Obviously, you can already see that from the corn snake. Salad is a lot thicker, and he's a male, and he'll get smaller. So he's already quite like a medium-sized snake. It's not, and he's male, so he gets smaller, but still thicker. So you have to be prepared to have the space for them. Even though, like, they obviously don't need huge amounts of space, they still need the right amount of space. With feeding, we've already said they do need to feed, rodents. But they feed, so that whatever day you feed them, you have to have at least like a 2 to 3 gap in between holding them.
Yeah, don't make sure you don't overfeed them. I do once a week with him. With my older royal, I'm trying to, because she was fed once a week in her old home, but I'm trying to gradually move it up to like a week and a half, something.
Yeah.
Between feeding, but
but the a con to them is that we've spoken a little bit about this. If you give them like an awesome setup with loads of plants and things, they will squish it.
Yeah.
Because they're not gentle in their ways. They're not like fast and agile. They're bulldozers. I describe them as. They'll just run over anything.
They're like the bulldog of the snake world.
But generally they are really sweet. I would say if you were to get an aggressive one, be careful because quite large. powerful.
One recommendation is
Snake hooks.
this one's slightly large because it's
You
quite
don't
big.
really need.
It's a large one. You don't need one this large, but snake hooks are very useful. This is so you can handle your snake without touching it, so you avoid getting bitten. It's probably better to handle them without snake hook because then they get more used to your hands, not the hook.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There's not many cons about these guys because they are generally quite sweet.
That's why they're considered beginners.
That's why they're considered beginners because there's not many cons about them. Obviously, you need your heat lamps. You need to be prepared to pay for all of that and things.
Yeah.
But same with any other reptile. Yeah. These guys generally so sweet. There's not much bad to say about them.
There is one con that it's not too much of a con, but it is something you do want to think about. If you're getting one and you've bought caves and all that and all the decorations,
they will literally sit in one cave.
Yeah, but they also make sure they can fit in the caves because I have both of my royals. They really they both. I mean, my adults only got one because it doesn't really use anything else. I've put multiple in there. It doesn't use it, but this one has a cave that's slightly small for it. I'm gonna switch it over, but he goes in it and it technically damages scale. It's not that bad. Like, don't worry about him, but it's like make sure your royal can fit in its caves because they are a lot bigger.
If they get used to the cave and they like sitting in it, even if they're too big for it, they will sit in it.
I would recommend getting a cave where there's multiple different sizes to it because then it's similar, but it's just more like they can fit in it better.
My snake has 2 caves. She sits in both of them, but her most liked one is her warm side cave. She's had it since I got her, and she absolutely loves it. But she is getting
grow out.
She's getting bigger and bigger, and I bought her a larger cave the other month. She doesn't use it as much because they get used to things. They get used to things like their caves and their setup, and if you change it, they will explore it. But
also, I forgot. Just to interrupt. I've got one big pro to these snakes in general. Is they remember their owners. Like, look, he's like kind of coming to me because I own him. Like, but they also get used to people. Like, Jazz comes around a lot. She holds him a lot. I hold him a lot, obviously, because I own my snake. So yeah, they know you. Like, they will get to know you as their owner and the person who feeds them. So look, he's coming over. He knows.
He's coming straight over to Gilbert, and it would be the same with my snake. Like, Mayo, and they. Voice recognition.
Yeah, it's mainly that as well.
Yeah, they would, like, because obviously they can't really hear, they've not got ears, but...
Well, they do, they're just covered in scales,
yeah,
so it's not like, the best hearing.
It's like the, almost like, if you show that his head, it's the bits on the side, isn't it?
Well, it's kind of hard, but...
Bits like that,
It's like having your own skin covering your ears, it's kind of hard to show,
But they mainly sense through vibration and obviously their tongues, and they will like recognise your pitch and like your voice generally.
Also, can I just mention, if you're going to get a beginner snake, obviously you're not going to know that much about them to begin with, unless you've done a lot of research. If it licks you, it's not tasting you. No. It's not taste testing you.
No.
Most people I have that come round and hold these guys, they're like, oh, it's licked me. It likes my taste. It's like...
No.
It's trying to smell you and investigate you.
Yeah, it's trying to figure out whether you're harmful to it.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty much royals in a nutshell, so...
They're lovely.
They're cute. They're a very good snake.
My first ever snake, royal, love it. I would recommend.
Yeah, they're a very nice snake. They're also... Because if, like, say you live in an apartment, you're like, I want a pet. Like, it's too small for a dog or something like that. Dog of the snake world. Okay, so now it is leopard geckos. These guys are just the best beginner thing ever.
Yeah.
So we're going on to lizards. That was only 2 snakes, but that's really the only ones that are available. We have available today. So we're going to move on to these guys, which are probably better than all beginner snakes because they're just amazing. So here we go. Jazz is going to do pros. I'm going to do cons. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so now we've got pros.
pros.
I mean, we haven't done anything with leopard geckos before, apart from telling you like we're doing leopard geckos. So let's just see her.
So this is Gary. He's a leopard gecko, Obby. And he... Obviously. Oh my god, where are you going? He is absolutely awesome. Just getting some help there. He's absolutely awesome. But he... so their care is pretty simple. They don't need a lot of space, probably. What's Gary in right now?
3 foot.
3 foot, yeah.
That's probably more. Well,
yeah.
no, I'd recommend 3 foot.
Yeah. So he's quite big for a leopard gecko. They don't usually get that big. But he's got 3 foot. Their setup pretty simple. Probably like sandy substrate. Caves, lots of caves, hiding spaces, water bowls. Not too deep of a water bowl because that would be bad for them.
Especially babies.
Yeah, and they're not arboreal, so they don't climb. So not lots of climbing spaces.
Yeah. Also, another pro. Another pro. You can do funny pictures with them.
Yay!
With King Gary.
But. So generally they're really good for beginners because their care is pretty simple. That's number 1. Number 2, food and diet. These guys will eat mealworms, superworms, like cockroaches, so dubia roaches, and you can feed them with tongs, you can hand feed, or you can put them in a bowl. Tongs probably the best, and they will feed. Obviously, you don't want to overfeed them, but they'll feed pretty much whenever, really.
Okay, now to the cons. Leopard geckos, they have a lot of pros, but the cons is something you don't want to ignore. So let's go through that. Number 1, they aren't always friendly. They are definitely friendly, yeah, like Jess said. This one's friendly, but they are not always friendly. This one, when I got him, first time I took him out, he ran straight off my hand. And onto the floor.
Yeah.
Didn't you, mate? He's so cute.
They're very shy to begin with.
Yeah, they are shy to begin with. They're not out all the time. They are crepuscular, which means they come out in dawn and dusk. That's generally when you want to handle them as well.
Yeah.
It is midday right now. That isn't the end of the world. You can take him if you want. But it's recommended to handle them dawn and dusk because that's mainly their active hours of the day. They can drop their tails, they do regrow them, but that is also a con. They do eat bugs, like bugs. I'll grab some to show you actually.
He just jumped. He was like, wee!
They also jump.
So live bugs, different to snakes, you have to feed live. Otherwise, like, obviously, some leopard geckos will take like dead bugs, but they're hunters, so they will like see the little things.
Yeah, they're only interested in food as long as it moves.
Yeah.
Here's some crickets. Yeah. Again, don't get them from the wild.
No, don't get them from outside because anything from outside could kill your reptile.
Good part about feeding live, they are specifically bred to be silent. They don't chirp.
Yeah.
Although there's the occasional one in the pots where they do chirp. This is what you gotta do. Right. Do you wanna? Let's do this. So we have Gary. I shall plop the cricket. Yeah, no.
He just went,
let's not feed him. But
no. Yeah.
They eat these. That's
feed them live.
But yeah. So that's obviously a con. They do hide a lot. They're not always going to be very active. They're not going to be running around their cage very much. They can bite, and it's very easy to get them fat. They can get quite large, very fast. They can be very fast as well. There is that. They're not a good display animal at all. They're good for handling though, so
yeah.
There's not really much I can say about these guys though.
No.
They are soft underneath actually. That's a cool
very
thing.
soft.
But they actually really bumpy on
very
top.
bumpy.
Like on their
you
back,
can see
it's like,
his bumps.
it's kind of hard to see on camera. It looks like pattern, but
it's all bumpy.
Very rough.
But that's obviously not a con, that's just them.
That's just them, yeah.
They're awesome, though. There's not many cons about these
Some
guys.
people might get a bit weirded out about how their ears, there you go. Oh, missed it, but their ears are just holes straight through their heads. I think that's a cool thing about them.
You can see straight through them, can't you?
These guys do blink. You're like, geckos don't blink, I bet. But
yeah, they do.
Some
They've got
geckos do.
eyelids.
Some geckos do. Most don't have eyelids. It's mainly arboreal geckos that have them.
Yeah.
No eyelids. So these guys are very cute.
Very, very cute.
They are gorgeous. They're not like the most affectionate thing. They're not going to be begging for strokes at all. But
and
yeah,
you can see why they're called a leopard gecko as well. Their pattern.
Yeah, they're very pretty. That's just a normal as well.
That's just a normal.
That's nothing
very
fancy.
Pretty.
Very cheap. £35 I got in for at Pets at Home. Even more common than corn snakes and that.
Yeah.
Royal pythons way more common than that. They are cool. Let's move on to the next lizard. Okay, so the next one is blue-tongued skinks. I know some people who are slightly more experienced out there are like, no, they're really not beginners. They can be. It just takes a lot more effort and a lot more. You want to be committed.
Yeah, committed.
You can see above us, she's in a 4 foot. They can be in 5 foot, so I would recommend larger stuff. You're in what? I will probably give her a bigger tank eventually, but yeah. So she's an Indonesian, so we're just going to talk about Indonesians. The Centralians are a lot more common, and this kind of relates to them. Just make sure you do your research, and let's get into the pros. Okay, so to type of pros, and handling's going to be a con for these ones. They are awkward. So pros, these guys are literally like dogs. They will. This one pretends to be stuck, so I will open the cage and take her out. She's not in a cuddly mood right now, but they do love cuddles. They do. And they are pretty much just dogs.
They're awesome.
You can see she's fallen asleep with that, but yeah, they're cute. Pros, they eat a big variety. You do want to make sure you know what they're eating, because they can't eat fish or anything like that. Do your research still, but yeah, they eat quite a lot of stuff. Shedding's not that much of a problem. They don't eat it like leopard geckos and other geckos, but yeah, they are obviously a lot larger. They can drop their tails, I'm pretty sure. Some species can. I'm pretty sure the Indonesians can. It's a lot harder for them though, so that's like a pro. Less chance of it. They are very pretty as well. I don't think she is. She does not look like most Indonesians. She is. We don't really know her species. We reckon she's an Indonesian, but a toffee or something like that. I don't know much about blue tongue morphs, but she is awkward. But she is. Let's put right there. Good biggers. They're interested in you, so she will just sit there. They come out a bit. There you go. See? They're cool because they got blue tongues. Yeah, she's just gonna wander off. That's cute. They do need caves. They're a lot more active, more diurnal than corn snakes and that. She's out all day. She is, as you can see. Just sorry about the dirtiness in the glass. There you go. They do need tropical stuff. That's her setup.
She needs more water.
Yeah, she does. I just realised that. Yeah, so make sure you get a heavy water dish, unlike me, because they will knock it over. Like, the reason that's empty is not because it's dried out, it's because she goes, when I refresh it, she goes under and flips it. So, yeah. Oh, God. Keep on banging that tank, I've got to move forwards. Yeah, they're a very cool species. They, of course, are a lot friendlier. Their handling can be a bit awkward, but yeah. Also, it's easy to indicate if they're grumpy or not, because they'll huff. That's technically them saying, I'm not happy with this happening, please shut up.
Yeah.
And go away. But now it's time for the sad part of the video. Anyway, yeah, this is cons about blue-tongued skinks, and Jazz will talk a bit about that while I just go do some other stuff I need to do with some reptiles.
So, cons about these guys. Honestly, there's not many. I would say the biggest one is food, because they've got like a wide variety of diet. They eat a lot of things, but if you give them the wrong thing, that could be really bad for them. So obviously it's not going to be an issue if you do your research. I know I've said that so many times, but do your research, because if you feed them guys the wrong thing, that could be really bad for them. That's one con. Another con they're so hard to handle. Like once you've got them out, they're lovely. They're sweet and they're awesome, but they're hard to handle. Like you could see us struggling like really hard.
Yeah, it's quite hard.
Yeah. So like I would say, if you want something easy to handle, don't get one of these, because they are awkward, especially because they're so long, and they're like flailing themselves about. They're very inquisitive, so they'll jump about a bit and, you know.
Wait there, let me just jump in quickly. A quick suggestion for for holding difficult or more like skittish reptiles is I'll put a picture right up here, but you can get these like animal holding pens on Amazon and that, and it's just really helpful.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Jasmine.
Yeah, there's honestly not many cons about them. They're one of the bigger lizards like that you can get. They're not tiny. They're not like a leopard gecko. They're quite big, so you're gonna need the space for them.
Oh, sorry.
Gilbert's doing water and humidity for the reptiles, and he just sprayed loads of water in my face. Okay, moving on. So yeah, you're gonna need this is a 4 foot, so you're gonna need something along the lines of that. Caves. You may not think, for some reason, that lizards like that need caves. They need caves. They love them. They'll hide in them.
Another con is they do need larger caves.
Yeah, they do need large caves.
And it's also quite hard to find large caves. Some people just use like big Tupperware or Halloween.
So we've got in here, sorry Bubbles, we've got this, which is it's a cave and it's made for reptiles, but you can make this quite easily by just getting like a plastic box and melting. Don't use tape. Don't use tape in any of your reptiles builds, because
it's just bad.
It's bad. It's bad idea. If it gets stuck to them, it's really bad for them. So this is made for them. You can see it's quite big.
I believe that's like a habitat.
Habitat.
Okay. Please don't sue us for mentioning that. Habitat. I don't think they would. Why would they? We're shouting out to them.
It's quite big.
Oh my god! Look at.
Yeah, so obviously for such a long lizard, you're going to need a bigger cave. She's like, why have you taken my cave? Right, in you go, baby, so I can get it back in. So with them, probably so Gilbert's got tropical substrate in here at the moment. They don't need that, but
they're more humid species in regions.
They're more humid.
Start off with like snake bedding and whatever.
Yeah. So make sure you got the right substrate, but generally there's not that many cons to them because they are very sweet reptiles. Sorry, we do not have any more time to do bugs, but if you would like some bug videos in the future, please let us.
Okay, so now we're just gonna go around quickly what not to get, even if like you've kept like 2 beginners. First off, obvious. Jungle carpet pythons. These are very mean. They hate people. I'm not gonna.
Hates people.
Oh yeah, he specifically. They have quite a bad reputation. He is already yesing up at me.
Yeah.
You're guaranteed to get bitten if you keep.
Yeah.
Jungle carpet python, and they also get quite large. This one's gonna need like an 8-foot tank when it's older, but yeah.
Yeah.
So we will also film this other one after Jazz has done scratching bubbles.
Hello, boop.
This is just proof of how good they are.
She's so sweet.
She is.
So
okay,
moving on to the next one. This is Bella. She is a VPI. Got it right? VPI snow boa constrictor.
by the way, she's not dead. She is
she's
shed. And they look like that during shed. Plus, she's just had mice. So she's hiding in the corner.
She's in shed. But these guys get huge. She'll probably get smaller because she's obviously a
VPI. She'll get. It's mainly not because she's VPI. It's mainly because she's boa constrictor imperator BCI. But then the BCCs, boa constrictor are the true red-tailed boas that are like the ones that get up to 10 to a foot.
So these guys, she'll probably get up to like
7 maybe if we're lucky 8.
Yeah,
I mean it's not still, very lucky, but
that's still pretty big though. And they're just not beginner snakes at all. They're very strong. They're like quite food aggressive if you don't train them.
Well, they can be. They are mean if you don't handle them enough. They're like blood pythons. You handle them a lot, they're alright. These are Chinese cave geckos. I'll just put a couple videos up if we don't get any footage of them. But so most people who keep Chinese cave geckos, they keep the Goniosaurus hainanensis. I can't pronounce this scientific name, but it's Goniosaurus something that begins with a B-ness something. I don't know.
But they're just not beginners, really. They're hard to get.
I can kind of see the tail on camera. Yeah. It's very hard to see, so we'll probably just show a couple of videos right here. So they're very hard to find. These were 130 each. I have 3 in here, 2 females and a male. Just don't get them to begin with. Now we're going to move on to a gargoyle gecko. These guys, I was gonna put them in the beginners, but they are just not very easy to handle. Something in the cage stopped filming, made it stop filming.
He's hiding.
That's Tabasco.
Gargoyle gecko's not really a beginner.
So that's all we've got for today. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Hope this also helped some of you beginners out there. I know some people who already got into reptiles and experience may not be that interested in this, but thank you for watching anyway.
Thank you.
And yeah,
bye.
Bye. Have a nice day.